Let's listen to Anthony Fauci say some interesting things.
You said in an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Spector that you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit. And
wow. Just going ahead and just saying the stuff right out loud, isn't it? Just right out in the open. Right out in the open. Just, yeah, when you make people's lives terrible, suddenly you can control them. That's not my words. That's Anthony Fauci's.
And they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bullshit, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and
Thank
that's
you.
not what I was referring to.
Well,
Yeah.
in reference to making it hard for people to get education, traveling, working, I'd say it very much was in context. And I take great offense to this. Miss Allison Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because she sought an exemption for ESPN's vaccine mandate, which came from recommendations from bureaucrats like yourself. She and her husband were actively working with a fertility expert, a physician, on how to get pregnant, and agreed with the premise that she was young, healthy, wanted to get pregnant, and shouldn't get the vaccination for medical purposes. But she was fired because you made it hard, just like you said in your statement, because you didn't want to make sure that the ideological bullshit got in the way of her working, of living her life, of making a medical decision with her healthcare professional. I think America should take great offense to this. That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely exactly what he meant. Ricky Sky, look at Jeremy finally using Rumble Studio. Here's $5. I only tip Rumble Studio users now. Nice. Central planners have a hard on for struggle. Canigula. That name, Matt, every time. Yeah, you're right about that. Tim Quadracci says, let me see how this works at UFC 302. The crowd was also shouting, frick Joe Biden, and Khabib, a Muslim former champ, shook Trump's hand and said he believed Trump would end the Palestine war. I believe it never would have happened. Right? I think that's fair to say. Some of the other clips, pretty good. Fauci's own words prove he was trying to use his influence to weaponize companies against their employees to mandate the jab. So let's just listen to some of Fauci's own words here. This is Fauci's own words to prove that he was trying to using his influence to weaponize companies against their employees to mandate the jabs.
You said in an interview that you gave as part of an audiobook written by Michael Spector that you believed an institutional should make it hard for people to live their lives so they'd feel pressured to get vaccinated. Could we run the audio clip on that, please?
You think can be done about it? I have to say that I don't see a big solution other than some sort of mandatory vaccination. I know federal officials don't like to use that term.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you are going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated.
I mean, it's just, it says it right out, hey, we don't have to legally mandate anything. We'll get the corporations and the universities to do it for us, right? That's what he's saying. We'll get CNN to run a live death counter. We'll get CNN to run a live death counter on their network every single day to make sure that they do our bidding, that everyone's scared. And then their universities are going to say, hey, you've got to do it our way. Oh, you want to listen to a podcast? What if a podcast is run by doctors or has a doctor on it? Well, Fauci says listening to podcasts, memes, and, quote, conspiracy theorists does nothing but harm people.
I think the American public...
By the way, this is Representative Robert Garcia, who appears to be wearing a significant amount of face makeup and has dyed his eyebrows. A Democrat ball washer from California. Just want to give him I just want to give everyone his proper, I wanted to really roll out the red carpet. I really wanted to roll out the red carpet for Representative Robert Garcia, who lobs a softball question, essentially just parroting, like, in support.
To America's brightest and best doctors and scientists, or instead listen to podcasters, conspiracy theorists, and unhinged Facebook memes.
Unhinged Facebook memes? Not unhinged Facebook memes, everybody. Guys, don't listen to unhinged Facebook memes and or podcasts. We all know he's talking about, of course, Joe Rogan, right? He's talking about Joe Rogan. Meanwhile, this guy's got two caterpillars painted on his face, and he wants us to take him seriously. He looks like the member of an all-female, all-overweight Latina gang that specializes in knocking over churro stands for their money and providing protection.
Listening to people who you just described is going to do nothing but harm people because they...
Yeah, don't listen to people. That's going to harm people.
They will deprive themselves of life-saving interventions, which has happened. And, some have done studies. Peter Hotez has done an analysis of this and shows that in people who refuse to...
By the way, he then goes on now to blame people who didn't get it. By the way, I don't have any, I've always said, just so everyone knows, by the way, everyone who's listening, right? If you followed my show, if you've listened to my show for any amount of time, you know that I don't judge people based on the decisions they made, given the information that they had at the time in which they had it. Okay. I don't care if you got it. I don't care if you didn't get it. I only care if you shamed other people or, did any, supported authoritarianism, all that kind of stuff. That's what I don't like. But this point now, he gets on and he says he blames people who didn't get the jab for 300,000 deaths.
To get vaccinated for any variety of reasons, probably responsible for an additional 200,000 to 300,000 deaths in this country.
Prove it? Nah.
Thank you, sir, and your entire team for saving lives in this country. And I'm sorry you have to continue going on with these attacks.
Gargle balls. Ball gargling noises. I mean, are you joking? I also love how Dr. Fauci, I wonder if Dr. Fauci broke down in tears. I wonder if Dr. Fauci broke down in tears when he was allegedly overseeing when he was allegedly overseeing the removal of beagle dogs' voice boxes. Okay. Beagle dogs were put into nets where sandflies would consume their faces while they were alive. And the scientists completing the study decided that they didn't want to hear the dogs crying out in pain, so they removed their vocal cords. That's who Anthony Fauci is. Just so people know. That's who Anthony Fauci is. So pardon me, okay, for not caring that people said some mean words to him.
So, Dr. Fauci, can you please share with us the nature of the threats you have received since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, there have been everything from harassments by emails, texts.
Emails? Emails? By the way, some of you, that's the first you heard about what, those beagle dogs went through for Dr. Fauci's study.
Letters of myself, my wife, my 3 daughters. There have been credible death threats leading to the arrests of 2 individuals, and credible death threats mean someone who clearly was on their way to kill me.
No, that's not what that means. That means that the police decided that it was. And I wonder if those guys who were arrested might have been the wrong political affiliation. Now, I don't obviously support people going after his family. His family has nothing to do with it, okay? His family has nothing to do with it. His wife has nothing to do with it. Although I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that his wife just so happened to be in charge of ethics at the medical lab he worked for. Am I confusing that? I'm pretty sure his wife had some sort of position in which she was supposed to be the one watching over him. So if people send him mean emails, I don't care. If people have a certain opinion about this individual whose recommendations were used to place a total totalitarian rule over parts of this country, yeah, he gets to stand and be criticized for that. And some people are going to be emotional about that. I'd be pretty emotional too if because of what this scumbag said, I couldn't go visit my grandmother or my father in the hospital.